Welcome to the Create a Registration tutorial. To proceed with this tutorial, you should have already set up an account and created your profile within the Lobbyist registry system. However, you are not yet registered on the public registry. Once you have created an account on the Lobbyist registry system, the next step is to create a registration. Of course, first you must ensure that you are within registration deadlines based on your lobbyist type. For consultant lobbyists, this is within 10 days of beginning your undertaking to lobby on behalf of your client, and for in-house lobbyists, this is within 2 months of becoming an in-house lobbyist. Consultant lobbyists must complete a separate registration for each client. For-profit and not-for-profit entities have one registration under the name of its senior officer, and the in-house lobbyists are listed within the one registration. You can find resources on our website at www.oico.on.ca. And we always recommend that you read the Lobbyist Registration Act or the Guide to the Act so you understand your responsibilities under the law. To create your registration, go to the Overview page under the Lobbyist Registration section of the website and click on Login. You will be prompted to enter your email address and password. You will then be required to provide the answer to one of your 3 security questions. Now you are logged in. You are on the menu page, which gives you a number of options. Select Create a Registration. For the purposes of this tutorial, we are creating a registration as a consultant lobbyist. Here you will first see a checklist of the information you should prepare in advance to help you complete your registration. Please bear in mind that the registry system will time out after 20 minutes, so it is best to gather the information before beginning your registration. When you have gathered the necessary information, click Proceed. The contact information, which was completed in the initial application process, will already be in the registration form. To navigate through your registrations, click Next to save your information and proceed to the next page. As you proceed through the step in the registration, please note that if you need to return to a previous step in the registration, do not click the Back button in your browser. Use the Previous button at the bottom of the page. Let's start with former public offices held. Did you at any time hold any of the following positions? Even if you did not, you must select None of the above to proceed. Click Next. Enter the client's information, including the name, address, and a description of the client's business or activities. Provide the date you commenced the performance of the undertaking. In this case, this means the date on which the consultant begins communicating directly or indirectly with a public office holder. If you have been engaged by another firm to work on lobbying activities on behalf of that firm's client, click Add Information and provide the firm's name and address if applicable. If you click Add Information but determine that you do not need to fill in this section, be sure to click Cancel in order to proceed. Click Next. In this section, provide any additional client information if applicable. If the client is a corporation, provide the name and address of its parent company. Does the client have any subsidiaries that have a direct interest in the outcome of the lobbying activities? Is the client an organization? Does a third party have a direct interest in the lobbying activities? Has any other entity or organization contributed $750 or more specifically towards the entity's or organization's lobbying efforts? Review each of these questions carefully to determine if they apply. If you are unsure about a question, hover your mouse over the question mark icons for more information. Click Next. List any government funding information received from any level of government. Click Next. You may have a restriction under the Broader Public Sector Accountability Act if your client is a designated broader public sector organization as listed here. If your client is not one of the following entities listed, click Next. If your client is a designated broader public sector organization as listed here, click Yes. Type in the name and title of the head of the client's organization. An attestation form will open. Print this form, and the head of your client's organization must sign it to attest that you, as the consultant lobbyist, are not being paid with public funds. Select the subject matter. Click Next. Pay particular attention to the lobbying activity section, as it is the crux of the registration. To determine which subsection to use when entering your lobbying activity information, review the tooltip icons beside each category for more information. You are not required to complete all of these subsections, but be sure to select at least one. Provide a clear statement about what you are lobbying for and what you hope the intended outcome will be. Select the MPPs, ministers' offices, ministries, and/or agencies with whom you will be communicating. Select all that apply. If your lobbying activity does not fit neatly into any of these subsections listed, enter your lobbying goals under Policy and/or Program. Select the MPPs, ministers' offices, ministries, and/or agencies with whom you will be communicating. Select all that apply. Click Next. And finally, we get to communication techniques you will be using when communicating with public office holders. Select all that apply. Click Next. You must provide complete responses to all of the questions within the form in order to avoid having your registration returned and/or be subject to enforcement measures. When you have completed all the steps on the registration form, you will be directed to preview your registration before submitting it. Review each section carefully and make any necessary changes by using the Edit buttons at the bottom of each section. When you are done your review, you or the individual who may be submitting the registration on your behalf, your primary contact, must type in their name to certify that the information provided is true to the best of the knowledge and belief of the persons submitting the information. Click Submit at the bottom of the page. After you submit your registration, it will be reviewed by office staff. If there are any questions about your registration, it will be reset to draft and you will be provided with a deadline to amend or complete the registration and resubmit it. Once your initial registration has been submitted, you will not be able to edit the registration until it has been approved by the lobbyist registrar. However, when you are logged in, you have the option to select View My Registrations from the menu page to see the status of your registrations. When the registration is approved by the registrar, you will receive an email confirmation and you can view your registration on the Active Lobbyists Public Registry. For more information on terminating, amending, or renewing your registration, please see our other tutorial sessions.